Hey everyone, I'm Kajaya and welcome to my channel and welcome to my Planets Through the 8th House series. This is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I wanted to get a personal account for a long time. I wanted to get a personal account of people with certain planets in the 8th house and see if those common 8th house things really did play out for them. Traditionally in astrology, the eighth house is the house of other people's money, death, regeneration, sudden ups and downs, taxes, and secrets. And I wanted to know how did that affect each planet on a personal level. So here I am with these interviews. I'll be doing each planet, including Chiron and Lilith. So please, stay tuned, subscribe, comment, and enjoy the show. Thank you. Hey everybody, it's me again, and I'm here joined by a very special guest. We are going to talk about the sun, her sun in the eighth house, and what it means for her and how it manifests itself in her life. In astrology, the sun represents our self-confidence, our sense of self, what's important to us, our pride, our ego, the father figures, and our authority figures, and what's important to you. So I'm here with Sir Isis.
Hi.
We had a bunch of technical difficulties before we got on video, like always. Um, and I collected a bunch of questions from some people in the astrological community and friends. Thank you all again. So we are about to jump into these questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Got your seatbelt on?
Yep, got it on.
All right, the first question is, how do you feel about past lives, and do you feel you remember yours?
I definitely believe in reincarnation. I can't really say if I remember any past lives, in any detail.
Hmm.
Uh, I do have a Scorpio South Node, which I think accentuates or adds to that eighth house sun, but it is conjunct Neptune in the third house. So that might be why I don't remember a whole lot of stuff.
Or just bits and pieces, right? Not the full
Yeah,
story?
yeah, no, definitely not the full story.
All right, question number two. Do you feel like you can't express yourself or shine to your fullest potential due to secrets?
Yes.
Hmm. In what way?
Oh boy.
Hey,
Uh, oh boy, you got to open up a can of worms.
I do know, hey, this is the eighth house. This is all a can of worms right
Don't I know that?
here.
Um,
You don't have to
yeah.
go, into too much detail. Go as far as you want to go. How about that?
Well, there is, like I said, I think due to that Neptune um, conjunct that South Node. There are some things that I am just finding out about in my
Hmm.
uh, family of origin, and there's still a whole lot more. Um, it's wow. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
So
I
just yes to the question.
Yeah, you know,
We
it
open up
really.
the worms and we ain't about to go fishing, not just yet. All right,
Oh yeah.
number three. Do people tend to trust you with personal information without even knowing you that well?
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
All the time, just coming up to you and crying on your shoulder and spilling their guts out.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Oh,
Why do you think that happens?
I'm still wondering about that because I'm kind of I look around and I go, why the heck, like, okay, am I wearing this big sign on my back that nobody's told me
Yeah.
about?
Are you a walking confessional? They just come in, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, okay. Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Question number four. How do you handle betrayal?
I cut folks out in my life.
You just cut
Just
them
to
out
put
and
it
it's
there.
done.
And, I give you enough rope to hang yourself, and once you get to the end,
Hmm.
that's it.
Is that a reoccurring theme with you in your life, constant, or do you feel like that's a reoccurring theme?
No, like I said, it takes me a very long time to actually get to that point where I cut somebody out because I will give you multiple chances.
Hmm.
Where I probably should have cut a whole lot of folks out from the get go, you know, but I don't. And I say, okay, well, I'm giving you another chance. Maybe that was a misunderstanding. I'm pretty sure that's that Neptune influence. But
Uh,
like I said, like once I get to that point, and due to great help to this Uranus Pluto square,
hmm.
like that's it.
Enough is enough. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Get tired of being sick and tired. Yep. They said
All
the
right.
book stopped here.
Question number 5. Have you struggled with trust issues, and do you think you have trust issues yourself?
Oh, I definitely do. And I have no. I'm not ashamed to say. I mean, because when you have trouble trusting the family of origin, I mean, it's like if you can't trust them, who can you trust?
Hmm.
You know, and I'm working through that.
That's
But
good.
yeah, I do.
Any life or death, I mean, any life death experiences?
Uh, I have been in almost it was a serious car accident that I was able to walk away from, both myself and the person that I was riding with. I was not the driver.
Hmm.
Uh, and there has been a couple of other, uh, close, very, very close calls. But I'm still here. Just celebrated my birthday last Wednesday, so I'm still here.
Congratulations, congratulations. And I forgot to ask you, what's your sun, moon, and rising? That's
I
actually
am an Aries sun, a Leo moon, and a Virgo rising.
that's a lot of fire in there.
Yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, question um, number 7. In the past, have you struggled with control issues in relationships with others?
Yes. Yes. On both sides, controlling me,
Hmm.
and once I broke free, uh, I'm kind of hard headed. I don't like anybody, telling me what to do. It's like I'm gonna do it my way.
Hmm.
But
So,
I'm not one of those, it's my way or the highway type. No. No.
all right. Question number 8. In the past, did you find it difficult to let go of old patterns of behavior? Like just hard to let go of certain things you would do because that seems to be common with an eighth house sun.
I I think the biggest thing is letting go of, when you get that first message to say, this isn't right. It
Hmm.
takes like two or three messages and you get the big old cosmic 2x4 upside the head. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that one, yeah, that's probably my biggest thing that I have trouble, um, letting go of. Other things, and I guess that has to do with that having Aries on that house.
Hmm.
Once I figure out, what's going on and understanding it and realizing that, hey, this isn't doing me any good, I don't have a problem with turning the ship, off, no, we're not going off the cliff.
All right, so question number 9. Have there been moments in your life where you have acted unconsciously and followed your ego, and what was the result? Like when you didn't sort of trust that inner voice and you just like spearheaded into a situation.
Uh,
You get the question, or do I need to like reword it? Or you don't want to open up those worms neither.
no, that was my first the first time I got married. Yeah, phew, that was definitely,
Oh, no wonder
like,
you paused.
no, you shouldn't be doing it. I went ahead and did it anyway. So yeah, and that, well, like I said, that was my first marriage, so you already know the results of that one.
Okay.
I was young and dumb.
Do you see your son in the eighth house as a blessing or a curse?
Both.
Both? Well, what would be the blessing and what would be the curse?
Uh, the curse I would say is sometimes looking at sometimes I feel like I look around when I'm looked at as to needing to be the strong one all the time, and you get kind of tired of playing that role. You want to look around and oh, and you look around and you don't see anybody, there to help you when you really need it. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest curse of the eighth house. But and again, within that curse is the strength. I
Hmm.
think there's tremendous strength to having sun in the eighth house.
Would you say the relationship with your father is, I mean, would you say the relationship with your father is really dramatic and intense?
It
It was.
was, yes,
So that's one of the common themes of the eighth house. So you can basically say that's a truthful thing. Something that.
yes.
Do you prefer to work with powerful people, or do you prefer to work at empowering others?
Empowering others. That brings me so much joy to
Hmm.
empower other people. I
And how do
love
you
that.
do that?
Uh, Basically just by if I discover something, I'll try to show, how I came about it, or sharing information, um, sharing maybe how I've done something. Um,
Anything with
I
people finances?
actually, I have a blog where I talked about what some of the steps that I took to completely get out of debt. I owe no debt to anyone, including my house.
That's one of the blessings of the eighth house. Money management, right?
Yeah, had to. I mean, because sister got to eat, sister got to have a roof over her head, and wasn't nobody
Right.
else to do it for me. So, and that's what I meant about this, the strength of that, the strength of
Mm.
the
The sun is what the world see. So is the quality of the eighth house sun, do you feel like the qualities of your personality is very visible to people? Like, do you feel like when people see you, they see you or not?
I think it's a little bit of both. They do see me, and then again, they don't. I think part of the reason why they do see me is because I do have the natural ruler of the eighth in the first house, which
Hmm.
is quite out there, quite visible. I mean, you can't hide it. But at the same time, uh, Neptune is such a huge player in my chart.
Hmm.
So um, I think it hides. I'm almost positive it hides that a lot because I come across as I'm kind of shy, um, and sometimes people will assume that I'm a pushover, and when they cross that line, then they see that eighth house sign. They're like, where the hell did that come from? So yeah, it's both.
Okay. Do you connect well with Scorpios? And if so, what is the relationship like?
Oh gosh, yes. Two of my best friends are one is a Scorpio sun, and the other is a Virgo sun, but he's a Scorpio rising.
Hmm.
And a couple of my other friends have other prominent, Scorpio placements. So yes, I do.
What do you think the connection is? You think there's a deep understanding, or?
Yes, I have kind of a funny little story to tell. The place that I used to work at, one of the employees was a Scorpio sun, and he could not get along with the bosses. So they would always basically kind of put him off on me, even even though I was not his supervisor, but we clicked. I mean, I understood him and he understood me. So,
You guys just vibe well together.
hmm
Do you feel like you have to be in touch with your inner self at all times? And if you're not connected, how does that play out? And how do you feel? Like being in touch with your inner self. Do you feel like you constantly have to be in touch with you? Or like if you're not, does things just turn to crazy?
yes, I do. I do wonder if that has to do with having um, my that eighth house sun as the ruler of my Leo moon,
Hmm.
uh, because if I don't, yeah, things get things get crazy. My health seems to kind of go, and I'm bothered with all these kind of issues. So yeah, I do.
So constantly being in touch with that person on the inside.
hmm But and that's something that I'm learning, and maybe that's because of age, seasoning, as I like to call it.
Seasoning is a good word.
Seasoning. But I don't mind telling anybody my age. But
Mhm.
yeah, that has come with age. That definitely has come with age.
What's your relationship like with people in power? Do you feel like they're, sometimes intimidated by you or no?
Yes, yes.
Why? Do you feel like that eighth house sun is very intimidating to other people?
Like I said, I think a lot of that has to do with having Pluto in the first. I really do. I think maybe if Pluto was in, say, the second house or maybe the third house, that may or may not play as much.
Hmm.
Um, and then again, too, the ruler of that sun is an aspect to that Pluto. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't understand why folks are intimidated sometimes. It's not all the time, but I have run across that uh, in my years on this earth. And, I'm kind of taken aback. It's like, why?
Now, the eighth house talks about, inheritance and other people's money. Have you benefited from large amount? I mean, have you ever, received large amounts of money from someone through marriage or, death and or inheritance?
Nope, I'm still waiting. That's
You
one of
and
the
me
things that I
both. You and
absolutely
me
hate
both.
about reading about the eighth house. They're like, oh, yeah, you're benefiting from. And I'm like, excuse me?
Well,
Where?
I've been told that, my grandfather is leaving his grandchildren things, but not to say I'm waiting for him to, kick the bucket, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you mean.
It still remains to be seen, basically.
But you know what, though, in all fun and games, and back to making it more serious, I think I'm wondering as I'm progressing in my astrological studies, I'm wondering if, uh, how do I put this? I kind of think if I did receive it when I was younger, not that I was a bad money manager then, but I don't think I would have handled it in the way that it should have been handled to get me where I need to be and where I really want to be in my life.
Mhm.
I think there were so many other layers um, of my personality that had to be stifled coming up in my household. um, that I would not have used that money to, like I say, further my own
For its true
evolution growth.
benefit.
Say again?
I said for its, real benefit.
Yes.
All right. In what ways did the eighth house themes play out in your childhood?
Ooh.
Now, are you going fishing with the worms now?
And we on about can number 3.
Hey, come on, let's pull us in a salmon and let's eat on this knowledge here.
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to open that one.
I mean, just
It,
scratch the surface. Did the eighth house themes play out in your childhood?
yeah, they definitely did. They definitely did. And really even just now I'm scratching the surface is trying to um dig deep and understand why,
Hmm.
you know.
I think that
Because
comes with any Scorpio or eighth house placement is that constant search for why, you
hmm
know.
yeah, oh yeah.
So, all right, so that was a good one. Do you find you befriend children more and are connected with them because of their honesty and innocence? Do you connect more with children or people who are just younger than you?
Ah, yes. Yes, I do.
Because there's
But
no gray area.
think yeah, oh that's definitely great, but I think I am somewhat of I'm still somewhat of a loner type
Mhm.
personality. So I really tend to, and I know this might sound weird, but I really tend to connect with animals a lot.
Well, hopefully someone else, well, maybe that's the eighth house theme, or maybe someone in the video will connect to that. Well, animals aren't people, so they're not shitty sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
You prefer to deal with animals than people, right?
Sometimes, sometimes I do. But I think that maybe could very well be due to having, like I said, that third house, since I am a Virgo rising and my South Node is in the third. So that may be where that connection is coming from.
Psychic connection to animals. All right. So, what advice would you give others who have their sun in the eighth house and who are struggling to deal with it? Or, the themes that have played out in their life, either through family or relationships, just in life in general, what advice would you give them?
I would definitely say living living well is the best revenge.
Why you gotta seek revenge? You see, you had to throw that out there, didn't you? Throw that out
I
there.
don't. Revenge, that type of revenge, the type of revenge that's always associated with Scorpio and the eighth house, to me is a waste of time. I could
Hmm.
be using that time to better improve myself. So, and my philosophy is if you're going to hate, then I'm finna give you something to hate. I'm really finna give you something to hate. Like that song, give them something to talk about. I'm finna
Uh-huh.
give you something to hate, since you're going to hate anyway.
You had to drop the revenge word. You just had to drop it.
But then
I'm sure all your eighth house sons will connect to that, all right?
I'm a Plutonian. Come on now.
Hey, I understand. All right, hey, we here.
Oh, yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh,
Trying to act like you don't know.
okay, what advice would you give to parents who have children with their son in the eighth house?
Let them, oh God, I would say let them really try to understand who they are. Um, I would say that at least from the Scorpio people that I know, I don't know a whole lot of eighth house sons, but from the Scorpio people that I know, they're very, very deep. And they were deep as children. And sometimes the parental authorities, they feel threatened by that. They're looking at this little young soul, and it's like, how do they know this? How do they understand this? And of course, like you said, that's the Scorpio thing. They're going to ask you why. So just telling them something, um, arbitrary in their spirit, they know it doesn't make sense, and they're going to ask you why. So I would say, understand who your child is and let them be who they are. You probably might learn something.
So basically, don't repress your child.
Yes.
All right, and the last question: what do you want the world to know about a eighth house sun person?
Oh, we are very, very deep people,
Hmm.
loyal people. Loyalty is, especially in relationship, loyalty is, oh gosh, loyalty is like, it's tops. I don't think you can get any more of a loyal person than a son in the eighth house person.
All right, I got a wild card for you. I'm gonna throw out 4 words to you, okay? And I want you to pick the one that best fits sun in the eighth house. All right, you ready?
Okay.
Um, hides in darkness, regeneration, soars in air, and immortality.
Ooh, I like regeneration.
Regeneration. You think that best fits for sun in the eighth house?
Yes.
Okay.
Not regeneration, not only for self, but to shine that light so that others can regenerate themselves as well. Because the eighth house, of course, contains all this hidden, the hidden stuff
That
that,
was
powers that be don't want folks to know.
well. There you have it. That was beautiful. Thank you for joining me, Sir Isis. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please comment below, share this video, like it, subscribe, and again, thank you for watching. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out?
No, that is it. Oh, I did want to bring up, as far as the eighth house itself, it is like I said, the house of commitment.
Hmm.
And I think it's the true house of marriage.
Oh wow.
At least from I'm studying evolutionary astrology.
Hmm.
And that is their view on the eighth house, and I really, really agree with that. The seventh house is the where we initiate relationships,
Hmm.
and the eighth house is where it gets to the nitty gritty.
So the eighth house would be, the long-lasting marriage. So the
Yes.
seventh house would be the honeymoon phase, and then you take it to the eighth house. That's when you're in 10 years. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Thank you, man. Because it does deal with other people, and when you get married, you join assets. You join, another family.
Right.
So it makes sense. So, man, that's going to be wild in the comment section. Thank you. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, again, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please comment. I would love to hear feedback on this. Bye.
Bye. Uh-oh.